What's going on, guys? This is Aaron with Departures Capital. We're here with John Kontak, President and Director of West Red Lake Gold. How are you doing today, John?
Good, Aaron. How are you?
Great, excited to have you on.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, so can you start by giving us an introduction to West Red Lake Gold and what the company's all about?
Well, I think the most important thing when one's talking about a junior resource company is the management team. And with West Red Lake Gold Mines, we have an experienced management team. Tom Meredith, our executive chairman, Ken Guy, our exploration manager, and myself, John Kontak, as president. This will be the third time we've monetized gold exploration and development assets in Ontario. Our last two companies were in Timmins, Ontario, and we took companies with a modest resource and market cap and built them up. For example, we had a company that we built up to 2 million ounces and did a $250 million value transaction with McEwen Mining, headed up, of course, by Rob McEwen. And another company of ours, also in Timmins, was another prolific Canadian mining camp, of course, was held by the OTCQB family of gold producing companies. Now we're in Red Lake, Ontario, which has produced 30 million ounces of high grade gold. And we have the West Red Lake project. It's 3,100 hectares. It's 15 miles west of the historic Goldcorp complex. And it sits on the regional geology that has made the Red Lake Gold District so prolific. The Pipestone Bay St. Paul Deformation Zone goes right through our property with 10 kilometers of strike length. And there's a second regional gold bearing structure called the NT Zone, and they intersect on our property. So we have we're in a prolific mining camp, an historic mining camp, experienced management team, and we have favorable regional geology.
Awesome. So the company has a very prospective property with several gold deposits. Can you tell us more about them?
Well, there's 3 former mines on our property, and they all sit on the Pipestone Bay St. Paul Deformation Zone. The Red Summit mine property and the Mount Jamie mine property, we own 100%. And the Rowan mine portion of our property, which is the most developed portion of our property, where our main drill targets are, we're in a joint venture with Evolution Mining, which purchased the historic Goldcorp complex about a year ago. We're happy to be joint ventured with them. We have 66% of the joint venture now, and during the course of 2021, we expect to earn up to 70% of the joint venture. We have an inferred resource of 1.1 million ounces. It's graded 7.57 grams per ton, and it's all within 500 meters of surface. And we put a hole down to 1,000 meters and found the mineralization in the host gold deposits. So we're looking forward to expanding that resource as we go to depth. Where we've been drilling recently is at the NT Zone, the second regional gold bearing structure that comes on our property. We put 40 holes. We've outlined 4 gold zones, all within 200 meters of surface. So we're developing a second deposit on our property close to surface. Also, we news released last week that at the Rowan, where we have the resource, we're drilling 16 holes to outline the potential for a surface bulk sample, which would mean that would become a producing gold company, potentially sometime in the future. And the final drill target on our property that I should mention is where the regional gold bearing structures intersect. Red Lake, Ontario is known for structural intersections of regional gold bearing structures. The Red Lake mine that really made Goldcorp one of the largest gold companies in the world was at the structural intersection of regional gold bearing structures. Now the rocks fold and fracture because of the geological force, so the geology is more complicated. But if you find what you're looking for, you can find a world-class gold deposit. And that's what Goldcorp was most interested in when they were our joint venture partner. And now Evolution, which has purchased those Goldcorp assets, is now very interested in that portion of our property as well, because as a large producing gold company, you could find a large gold deposit. So that's more the blue sky portion of our story. But brick by brick, we're adding ounces as we go to depth at Rowan to add to the 1.1 million and developing a second deposit on our property at the NT Zone.
Awesome. You guys got a lot of stuff going on. So what would you say is your core asset and why?
Well, I think it's a lot of things going on, Aaron. It's all within on the same property and all within the same corporate vehicle. So shareholders, and I may mention that the management team, including myself, are large shareholders, and we don't have options. So our interests are aligned with the common shareholders. Management is very much aligned with the common shareholders. And the transactions that I've mentioned in the past that we've done with McEwen Mining, for example, for $250 million valuation, that was a share per share non-taxable transaction, and everyone gets upgraded some more senior paper. So I make out well when all the common shareholders make out well. So I think that it's that combination of things, the vision, the experience, and the multiple drill targets, going to depth at Rowan, developing the second deposit. Blue sky portion of the story is more it's a structural intersection but it's a large deposit if you find what you're looking for. And then the bulk sample, which sometime down the road we may be producing gold in economic quantities from the property. So all of which are in the same corporate vehicle.
Wonderful. So can you tell us more about Red Lake mining jurisdiction and why it's so important? I know some of our viewers know Red Lake very well. Others don't know too much about it. So I'd love to, give the ones that don't know too much about it a little more information.
Well, I think one has to start off with that it's in Ontario. This time last year, the Premier of Ontario made it clear that mining is an essential industry in Ontario. So you kind of have the government behind you, so to speak, when you're in Ontario, which is also very much a rule of law jurisdiction as well. The other thing is the prolific mining camp. It's produced 30 million ounces of high-grade gold, and that's because of the favorable regional geology. And then when you have produced that much gold, you have all the infrastructure. You have the trained workforce, the roads, the hydro, the power. There's 4 mills in Red Lake, Ontario that produce the gold bars. So it's everything you need to bring a mine into production. That is why Evolution Mining, our joint venture partner, spent $350 million US last year, with another $100 million US to come along based on production and exploration activities. They just spent 343 million Canadian to take over the Battle North complex, which also has a mill. Pure Gold has brought the Madsen back into production. Ross Beatty with Equinox has taken over the Premier Gold assets in Red Lake, Ontario. And Great Bear Resources has been a great exploration story. So hundreds of millions of dollars being invested in Red Lake, Ontario, because of the jurisdiction, because of the infrastructure, and also obviously confidence that there's a lot of gold left in the ground.
Definitely. So what's the one thing you're most excited about for West Red Lake Gold in the next 6 months?
Well, adding ounces, we have the 1.1 million ounce resource, which is a great start. But as we go to depth at Rowan and drill out the NT zone, we hope to increase that perhaps to something along 2 million ounces over the next period of time. Won't happen in 6 months. But also what's going to happen, I think, and we can talk more about this, is that as capital flows into the sector, these assets get revalued upwards. We're getting about $15 an ounce in our market cap right now, but just historically speaking, not me speaking, but historically speaking, in other positive gold sentiment markets, you'll get 10 times that per ounce in a place like Red Lake, Ontario. So if you're getting $150 an ounce, for example, and you have 2 million ounces, you have a serious asset, and that's what we're looking to do. We'll get a portion of that done in the next 6 months, but it's more like a 2-year program. But over the next 6 months, we're definitely going to move it forward.
Wonderful. So now let's talk about gold. So despite unprecedented stimulus, gold has still been struggling to revisit recent highs. What are your thoughts on the current situation unfolding in the gold markets, and where do we go from here?
Well, I think we have to remind ourselves, like in the spring of 2019, for example, when the Federal Reserve became dovish after being hawkish related to the federal funds rate, gold in US dollar terms went from 1350 to 1550, And then last summer, when spring and summer, when the Fed once again reacted to the situation of the pandemic, et cetera, gold broke 2000. So when it makes that type of move, it's not unusual that the price of gold and gold equities have a pullback. But the price of gold and equities are establishing higher lows, and then in the next leg up, they'll establish higher highs. When is the next leg up? I don't know, but certainly the macroeconomic things that make for a positive gold sentiment are in place. Fiscal deficits, liquidity. QE's 11 years old or so, and it's even more so now than ever. But it's most importantly is negative real interest rates. I have a chart going back all the way to the Volcker era. And if you have negative real interest rates in the United States, you have a positive price for gold in US dollar terms. It's almost a perfect negative correlation. As real interest rates become more negative, the price of gold in US dollar terms goes up. And the federal funds rate is what, 0 to 25 basis points or something like that. And it's going to remain so for a while. So to 2023 is the forward guidance from Chairman Powell. But also there's more talk of inflation than there has been, Aaron, for a long time. I know, the Fed talks about getting to 2% inflation, and now they're going to overshoot that by their own admission, it appears. And then you have people like Larry Summers, the former Treasury Secretary of the United States. He's seeing 4% interest rates. So if you have essentially a zero federal funds rate and 4% inflation, you have a strong negative real interest rate environment. And that's positive for the gold sector. But it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in an upward linear way where it gets better and better, every day. It moves up, it pulls back, it moves up again. And that's what we see happening over the next number of years. And we want to take advantage of that for our shareholders, just as we've done in the past in our very cyclical industry. But knowing where you are in the cycle is very important. We think we think this is the best asset we've had, and we think this is the best gold sentiment cycle that we're in now, and we think we're in the early innings of it. So we're looking forward to doing some good over the next number of years.
As a gold bull as well, I agree totally. So where's the best place for investors to find out more information about West Red Lake Gold?
Well, of course, I'd point towards our website, westredlakegoldmines.com. Right on the home page, you can subscribe to our email list. We have over 2,000 people on our email list. We rent our own server space. We write our own HTML code. We stay in touch with people through the email list. We have a lot of activity on the property. There's going to be corporate developments, property developments. It'd be wonderful to have some of your listeners go to the website and subscribe. The website itself is always kept up to date, obviously, but if they could subscribe, would very much want to be in touch with them and keep them informed so they can make their own well-informed investment decisions.
Well, thank you so much, John. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to covering your story, and we'll see how gold does for the rest of the year.
Sounds very good. Take care. Be well, all your listeners. Aaron, you be well, your family be well, and all your listeners be well also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, guys, that wraps up the video. Thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to say, if you do support me, the channel, and all these videos, then kindly smash that like button along with hitting the subscribe button and the bell for notifications for future videos. I did also want to say, check the disclaimer down below. This video was sponsored by the company that we are talking about today. So check the disclaimer, full disclosure, and we're out of here. Always remember, guys, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you make your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. We'll see you guys in our next video.